Despite how it may seem, I promise I've been doing better at buying books. Hello, it's Less Than Wise here, and welcome to another video. Today, we are doing another book haul, and this is I seem to be doing these every single month, but that's because I seem to buy books at least once a month. And that might sound bad, but I promise I've been cutting down on the number of books that I've been buying every month. But I have about 10 books this month, roughly because I went with my friends shopping, and we went to thrift stores and we bought some books for pretty cheap. And then Book Outlet was having a sale, so I had to get books off of Book Outlet, which is not bad, especially for Book Outlet on a sale. I only got 5 books. You guys should be proud of me. I'm getting somewhere. I barely spent any money on books in September until the very, very end of September, and that's when I bought all these books. And I have not spent any money on October, and it's the 18th. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I think I can go the rest of the month without buying any books. I feel pretty accomplished with myself. But anyways, let's jump right into the books that I got, because I'm super excited about some of these, and some of these I feel, yes, but they're great. So we're gonna start with the thrift books that I bought. So the first book I got was A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. If you guys didn't know, Libba Bray also wrote The Diviners, which is one of my favorite series as well. I really, really loved The Diviners, and if you haven't read it, you should definitely go do that. I highly, highly recommend. But I've never read her other series, but I've heard things about it, and I've heard good things about it. I think they're good things. I've heard some things about it, but I'm super excited to get to it. I didn't get this off of Half Price Books, so ignore this. I actually got it from somewhere else, but it has a sticker from Half Price Books on it, so it's fine. But I've heard great things about it, and it sounds super interesting, so I'm excited to get into this series. So if I like the first one, I might go out and buy all the rest of them, so I guess we'll just have to stay tuned and wait and find out. The next book I picked up was The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. I have wanted to read The Da Vinci Code for quite some time. I know this is an adult fiction book, but I knew that they made a movie on this recently, didn't they? Or they did something that included this book in it. But anyways, I've heard it's really cool, and I'm super excited to get into it, just because I know this is one of those books that people should read, and so I'm going to read it because I own it now, and it was only it was on sale. I wouldn't have gotten it if it wasn't on sale, but it was it's cheap, and then it was on sale on top of that, so I kind of had to, you know what I mean? It literally only cost me $1. So I got it, and it was the hardback version. It's really big, and yay, love life. But this is a great book, and I'm excited to get to it. I feel like that's all I'm gonna say, so I'm just gonna stop giving excuses for what I'm excited to get to and what I'm not. You know what I mean? If I bought it, clearly I'm excited to get to it. This next one, I feel, one, like an idiot, and two, interested and intrigued, and kind of I have to go out and buy a whole bunch of books because I do. But the next book I picked up was Ink Death by Cornelia Funk. If you guys didn't know, this is the final book in the Inkheart series, and I feel like an idiot because I thought this was the first book for whatever reason. I don't know why. I know it's not the first book. I've read the first book. I know that the series is the Inkheart series, but for whatever reason, when I was picking it up, I thought it was the first book, and that was what was in my mind. So I got the third book, so now I have to go out and buy the first two. This is a trilogy, right? Yeah, I have to go out and buy the first two because I only own the third one. But that's good because this book is pretty ridiculously long. It's 700 pages long, and I don't have time to read this right now, so I can put this book off for a little while on my TBR thing and not feel bad about not having read it. Yay! But I'm actually really intrigued to this series. I've wanted to read it for the longest time, and I think I did start the first book when I was younger. Not much longer. I think I was in middle school, but I never ended up finishing it because these books are long, and I didn't have time for it, and I didn't have the attention span, and now I do, but I'm super excited. Now I'll just have to go out and spend some more money and buy the beginning of this trilogy and hope that I like it, and if I don't, go take it in somewhere for store credit. The fourth and final book I got that was a thrift store book was, I'm super excited about this one, guys. Y'all know my tobacco, my skabackle, my labackle. I had an issue in my last book haul. I think it was my last one, where I got the first 2 books in the Percy Jackson series. I actually have them still, one second. I went on Book Outlet and I wanted to get the first 2 books in the Percy Jackson series, and on Book Outlet they said they had them in the original covers that look exactly like the 3 that I have right here. But instead, they sent me the newer copied versions of it, and I contacted Book Outlet. Turns out these are the only versions that they actually have. Despite the fact that the picture on Book Outlet is not these books, it's of the originals. But I still got the books. I got a refund for them, but they didn't ask for them back, so I still have the books. So I can go and turn them in for store credit at one of my local bookstores and buy different books instead with them, which is great. But I was at the thrift store the other day and I found The Sea of Monsters, the second book in the Percy Jackson series. So now I have 4 out of 5, and all I gotta do is find the first one. And I feel pretty accomplished with myself because it was hidden in, like, between some big books, and I definitely wouldn't have noticed if I wasn't looking so intently, and I wasn't even looking for it. And then I saw it, and I was like, hell yes, because it happened to be one that I didn't have, which was a coincidence. But I'm super happy that I found this book, because y'all know my struggle trying to find these books. These books are not easy to find. I don't know if you've tried to find the originals, but they're not easy because they only sell these freaking new versions, and yeah, they're gorgeous, but like, I have the rest of them in the normal version, and I'm not gonna get rid of all of my books just so I can buy the new books, because that's ridiculous. Why would I do that? Anyways, moving on. The next book I actually bought full price because okay, this book has actually been featured in my last video. It was on my October TBR video, so you guys already know what this book is. But basically, I finished the second book. It's right here, and right after finishing the second book, I had to go out and buy the third book, A Court of Wings and Ruin. And I'm not gonna give you guys any rants or anything about this series. I'm going to have full reviews coming for each of these books individually, coming out hopefully pretty soon. I have the first review filmed already. I haven't edited it yet, and then I haven't filmed the second review either. But I'm so excited about this. This book is literally heavy. I think I mentioned this in my TBR, but this book is so heavy. It's really heavy. It's like 800 pages long, and I just but I'm super excited to get to the series, to finish the series. I don't want to finish the series. I'm super excited to get to the third book in this series. The third book in this series. It's so good. I love this series so much. It's great. But yeah, that is the next book I bought, and I definitely went out and bought it full priced, which you don't see me do very often because I don't like buying books full price because that was expensive, but you know, it's fine. Moving on, the next books we have are my Book Outlet books. So I got 5 books off of Book Outlet, and these were all books that I either needed or wanted to read. I think only one of these was a book that I hadn't really had on my TBR or was planning to read in any way, shape, or form, but I saw it and it was really, really cheap, and I was like, okay, I have to get it. Like, it was ridiculous. So I got these 5 books. So the first book I had to, of course, look up. Every time I go on Book Outlet, I always look up Terry Pratchett because I'm trying to get all the books of the Tiffany Aching series, which I moved right here. I have the 4th and the 5th one. This is the 4th and the 5th one. Wow. Book Outlet has them kind of coming in and out, the Terry Pratchett books. So these are actually the new covers. So if you look at them, these are the new covers for the Tiffany Aching series, which is his young adult version of the Discworld series. So basically he has the Discworld series, and in the Discworld series it has like different characters that it follows, and you read those books to go through it. The Tiffany Aching series is his young adult section of the Discworld series. Not saying that the other ones aren't technically young adult, but they're not really. I mean, they talk about like sex and, I mean, not really, but they like mention some explicit type of stuff. And these books are absolutely gorgeous, and I love the new covers for them, but I've been trying to look for them as they come out on Book Outlet, and I managed to find the third one, which is called Wintersmith. And this book is gorgeous. They're all gorgeous, let's be real, and they look really cool next to each other. Just look at that. That looks really cool. I know it's in the background, but like still. And I'm super excited that I found it, but I'm slowly collecting them. And I'm actually reading the Discworld series right now, and it's pretty great. So, well, I'm listening to it on audiobook, but it's still pretty great. So yeah, but this is a book that I, of course, had to pick up because it was there. The next book I got was Stars Above, the 4.5 book to the Lunar Chronicles. It's basically a companion novel to the Lunar Chronicles. It has like a whole bunch of short stories and stuff that follow the characters before the series happened, I think after the series happened, and some series that have not been mentioned. They're basically half books. They're just companion novels, and this is, I had to get it because I own the rest of the Lunar Chronicles. It's right here. I even have Ferris, which is another half book that follows Levana, and I just didn't have this one, and so I went on Book Outlet and I bought it because, especially considering it was on sale, I might as well. And then I picked up Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And if you guys watched my wrap-up for September, which I know some people haven't, but if you did, you knew that I read this book from my library during the end of September. I finished it October 1st, and this book is absolutely amazing, and I had to get it because, again, it was on sale, it was on Book Outlet, and I know that this is going to be a series, and I knew that I was going to end up buying it anyways, so I might as well buy it now after I finish reading it. And I might end up reading this book again sometime soon, so who knows. But I still have the library book for this, so it's kind of awkward because I have two of these books in my room, but one of them's not mine, and I still haven't returned it yet, and I need to go do that because I'm not reading it at the moment, but you know, it's fine. But yeah, I had to get this one because why not? And it's gorgeous, like, let's be real, you can't not. Next, I picked up Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi. I was originally planning on reading this on ebook from my local library, but I wasn't able to finish it in time because I was doing something else. I can't remember what I was reading, but I was reading something else, and I just didn't have time to get into the story. But I'm just going to mention that this book is literally me in writing. Like, I read the first couple of pages and I was like, if this isn't literally me in writing, I don't know what is. And it is, so I'm super excited to get to this one, and I wish I would have had time before to get into it, but I didn't, and that makes me very sad. But it's here now, and I own it, and I'm really happy that I do, and it's gorgeous, and I could just go on and on about all of these books all day long. But this is another one that I had to have because I've wanted it, and I knew I was going to enjoy it because I've already started reading it, and I just didn't have time to finish it, so, I did that. And then, last but not least, this was the book that I was not planning on buying, but it was there, and I thought it sounded interesting, so I picked it up. And that is And I Darken by Kiersten White. I've heard good things about this book. I've also heard bad things about this book. It really depends on who you ask, but for the most part, this book has good reviews, and it sounds super interesting, and I'm excited to get to it because it really fits in with my ACOTAR, Lunar Chronicles, caboscle that I'm going through. I can't think of that word. Debascle? I don't know. But it really fits in with that theme because it has very similar vibes coming off of it, and I don't know, I was in a mood when I bought it, so I got it, and it seems super interesting, and I've heard good things about it, and it's gorgeous, so I just picked it up, you know? Now I own it, and that is all the books that I got. And yeah, but I probably won't be having another book haul for a little while because I'm trying to catch up on all the books that I have on top of my bookshelf. I don't have any more space for books at the moment. If you guys can see from what you're seeing here, this is basically full. This shelf doesn't look full only because of the fact that right here is the third book in the ACOTAR series. Right here is the final book, which I'm currently reading, of Lunar Chronicles, and right here is Where Stars Above goes. And like my entire bookshelf is packed, and all of my books are on top of the bookshelf on top of that. So I need a new bookshelf before I buy more books, and I need to finish some books before I buy more books. So I probably am not going to be buying any books until Black Friday in November. So look out for that. But that is all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, make sure to stick around. And if you do, I guess that I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye!